International Mario Day?
Well, I don't think it's international, but like it is Mario Day. It's March 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Is it like when it was invented or something?
No, it's just if you take March and take off the
CH
and then it's 10.
10? Mario?
Yeah, Mario, yeah.
So it's not even like a real thing, it's just like one of those things that people are like, oh, it works.
Yeah, it's like the May the 4th or whatever.
I feel like that was like, there was a release date on the 4th though, so it's like...
Was there?
Was there?
I don't know. In May? Because usually the Star Wars movies come out in December.
No, that was the...
that was just the newer
sequels,
ones?
yeah.
Mm.
I feel like the original trilogy had some like springtime release dates. Maybe that though. For the Google.
Yeah. But, on that note, welcome everybody to episode 5 of the ForbiddenCast. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Lucas. And there's a whole bunch of sound stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I got to put up a bunch of foam so that it's hopefully a little less
Reflection-y.
Yeah.
And subliminal messaging.
Oh, maybe you should listen. I don't know. Yeah, so, how you doing?
Pretty good here.
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
Did you put a bunch of tape on your guitar?
I did. I did indeed put a bunch of tape on my guitar.
I noticed.
Yeah.
Just red electrical tape?
Yep. Just
Nice.
PVC tape. I originally wanted to get green because I really want a green guitar. I don't know why. I just do. But
The red might look better.
Yeah. Because like I wanted to get like a foresty green, kind of like your Brubaker,
Yeah.
and like kind of with like stripes like that, but I couldn't find any, so I had to settle with red. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, with the design, I just kind of did just patterns.
Yeah, it makes me think of the one guy from Atreyu.
Atreyu?
Atreyu?
I don't know what that is.
That's a band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's also a character, I think, out of the Never-Ending Story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is it the horse's name?
I don't know. I think
I'm pretty sure it's the horse's name.
Oh, okay.
From that movie. That.
It was just kind of.
Yeah. And then it's a sweet name. Atreyu?
Atreyu,
Yeah. It's the band name.
Huh, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Want to see the backside?
Is it even cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Doesn't. I don't know. Most people, I mean, if you're playing live, I mean, just playing at all, really, you're just going to see the front anyways.
Yeah. Well, it's also tape.
Yeah, so it's just like.
So it's kind of like obvious that you didn't put the effort to go all the way around.
I mean, if you look at it from the sides, though, like, except for that, for the most part, it still kind of like follows.
Well, that's what JB's first green guitar was. They just put white tape.
Oh,
The first stripes on, like, their original guitar was just white tape.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, it works. And like, I don't know, it looks flush. Like, it looks like it could be a part of it. You know? I mean, you can feel it. Like, it feels weird.
Well, it's just tape, so it's going to be a little bit offset.
Yeah.
Just sticking up a little bit, but whatever. It sticks down, so.
Yeah.
If you played it a lot, and it warmed up, and there was, like, sweat maybe it would wear off there, but.
Yeah. Oh,
whatever.
I don't know.
Just put more tape on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what you been listening to lately?
It was like a random Spotify hardcore playlist.
Oh, yeah?
So like
Anything?
peeked down there. Oh, I don't know, a bunch of bands I've never listened to before.
Oh, okay.
Pretty cool.
Anything memorable, or?
I don't really remember names.
That's alright.
But there was some other, I think, instrumental. They were like, This Will Destroy You or something, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Like some instrumental rock, yeah, because I listened to a bunch of Russian circles. So there's a bunch of like suggestions from that, whatever. So This Will Destroy You was one. They got some cool tunes. There's a lot of like soundtracky music.
Okay.
So it's something that would be like background in a film. Not that that's exactly what it would be used for, but that's just like what it makes me think of. So
Okay.
enjoying stuff like that. And what about you?
I've been listening to a lot of Hawken lately. I don't know if I showed you them.
think you did. Were you
Yeah.
talking about them to Mac?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I really enjoy this stuff. Very proud.
Where are they from?
London, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Hawken. I've heard someone pronounce it Haken before, so I don't
How's
know.
it spelled?
Haken.
Yeah. The way you're saying it made me think there was a W in there.
Yeah.
Hawken?
Hawken. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
People's accents probably,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
sound different from where you're from or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and besides that, I started listening to a bunch of Devin Townsend too.
It's always good.
Yeah, he's really, really cool to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, that's pretty much nothing too new besides those two. I think, the new Law Society album came out finally. That is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably didn't hear too much
No.
of it.
I didn't check that out.
Yeah, it's cool. And also, Havoc released a new single as well. So that's been kind of my circle
Mm-hmm.
lately.
On the repeats.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So,
Yep.
You want to get deep?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you last time
Yeah.
we ran out.
Yeah.
3 defining moments in
Yeah.
musical history, career,
Yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, just to give me ideas, do you want to start?
Just to give you ideas?
Yeah.
I go first, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright.
Just so I can kind of bounce off of how you approach things. you
Yeah,
know?
just not totally directly copy my homework.
Yeah. Just swap out a few words.
Yeah. Not even in an order, just literally the same words in a different order.
Yeah.
Throw in some spelling mistakes. They'll never know. What are some good ones? Trying to think of like early on ones. I think going to Guitar Workshop Plus.
Oh, okay.
It's like a summer thing, week-long workshops. When I started, I went to, they did it at the Humber College campus in Toronto. I want to say Lakeshore, something like that.
Mm.
And, yeah, I went there, and it's pretty much, it's not like a camp. It's a little bit more serious than that.
Camp.
No. Well, you go and there's like jazz, like classes. There's obviously rock classes, blues classes. There's drums, bass, keyboards, singer-songwriter thing. So like acoustic finger style. It's awesome. Guitar Workshop Plus. I cannot recommend that enough.
How old were you when you went?
I would have been, I think 15 was the first time I went.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah. So fairly young.
And then but like people in their 40s.
Oh, I mean,
go.
yeah.
It's seriously at any point in your life you should totally go. They were doing Vancouver and Toronto ones when I started, but now they're doing ones in like San Diego and Nashville and like there's a whole bunch. It's totally awesome. Yeah, they do it usually in July or like the Toronto, Vancouver ones, but then because of those other cities and moving around, I'm not sure when those dates are. But yeah, anyways, totally worth going and checking out. I went to that when I was 15. And it was pretty good just because it was a good taste of auditioning for something, because basically they had all of the people who would sign up for rock kind of gather in this little hallway lobby area,
Okay.
and then basically just take turns going in one at a time. They had a bunch of the like faculty teachers
Yeah.
all lined up. So it was like go in for a few minutes, come out, go in, come out, go in, come out, just all the way through. There was one dude who was in there for like 20 minutes, and the dude just knew his stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Oh man,
Huh.
could play any scale, knew his chords, his notes, and everything. And yeah, he walked out, and he's just some like super humble Asian kid who was just, put the work in.
Yeah.
So we walked out and everyone was like, dude, no way. And he's like, oh, it's, yeah, ha ha ha. But yeah, when I went in, like, kind of why it's a defining moment was realizing that I just have to get my shit together and actually learn how to play the guitar. Because, like, reading tabs, not gonna cut it. I actually have to know what all of this is.
Yeah.
Or at least start learning what all of it is. Because I went in there and it was just so bad. Because they asked me questions like, okay, can you play the C major scale, but from the 3rd fret of your A string, like, I could play like a C major scale kind of, so I just play with the root note up on the 8th fret of the E string, just play that one, and it's like, you know, play the first part, because then after that you're just repeating the notes, so I only did the first 3 strings, and then it was just stuff like, okay, so like where are all your F sharp notes, and I didn't know that, and they're like, okay, what about like a couple mode things, a couple chords, like just like triad inversions and different stuff like that, and it was just like, I just had no clue what they were doing. Like, everything they asked me, the answer was, no. Nope. Don't know about that. And then basically, just after a minute, came down to like, okay, we'll just play us something that you normally would, like, play at home.
Yeah.
So I just started playing, like, the first couple riffs from Master of Puppets terribly as I'm sitting there in my Metallica t-shirt. And as I'm doing that, it's just like, I kept playing till the end of a section, but then I knew halfway through to just, like,
stop.
They get it. They know. Yeah. You know. We all know. So, I ended up getting put in the beginner rock class, but that just sort of real eye-opener of, yeah, dude, you don't know anything. So, get on it. You know? And I was always terrible in school, never cared. You know, not that those things weren't interesting, it's just the system of it.
Yeah.
I just would rather not be here. I would rather be doing nothing somewhere else than being, doing something here.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also that too. Like, I don't know if you're like that, but it's just like to have that, like, authority figure, to tell you what to do. Kind of, because I know for me that was a huge thing. Just, I hated that about school. To have someone tell me what to do. I don't know why, it just always pissed me off. And it pushed me further to not want to do something. I don't know if that's your case also. Or you just really just kind of were like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really ever see... The older I got, the less I sort of saw them as authority figures, and they're just a person doing their job.
Yeah.
So it's like, it wasn't like, oh, they're trying to be the boss of me. Like, they punch in the morning. Yeah. They're punching out at the end of the day.
Yeah, see, I kind of stopped having that mentality, like, once I got into, like, maybe, like, grade 10, and then I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, everybody's just having a shit go at life, you know? But, yeah.
But, yeah, so... That week, my uncle dropped me off and he told me, like, here's your paper, here's your pen, like, take notes on everything. So I literally did that. Everything that was written down on the board, I wrote down everything. So it's like just the different boxes of the pentatonic scale, things like that. And it was a 5-day thing where it was just all day. Like, you have breakfast on campus, you go to class, and you're there till lunch working on whatever, like, theory, technique things, and then after a couple days you end up picking a song, because at the end of the week, each class gets up and performs something that they've been working on. Okay. Because it's super involved in, like, actually performing, and it's just such a great positive environment where another year that I went for a jazz one, I went up and, like, I kind of did okay, because especially with that one, it was like, hey, here's, a bunch of modes, so just improvise stuff. And that, at the time, was, like, new to me, so I did, like, an okay job. I sort of defaulted to making it cool rhythmically more than doing something cool melodically. Oh, okay. So I started kind of hearing the drummer do something, so I kind of started, like, really emphasizing what he was doing and not doing. So then he started, like, we looked at each other and he started doing that too.
Okay.
So it kind of made it cool.
Hmm.
But it wasn't like a mind blowing solo. So when I get off, the guy who was my teacher, like, gave me a pat on the back. Each and every one of us was like, "That was awesome, guys," and he was just like so proud. So it was like, it's a really like awesome, positive experience. Definitely why everybody should go check it out.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so the first week was, yeah, we had to learn Freebird,
Okay.
and then it was crazy because there was like in the 20s of us, and we all were lined up. So at the end, like, we'd go through Freebird. One of the guys in the class like could kind of sing, so he did the vocals, and then we each like took a turn doing solos.
Huh.
So even that too was like my first. Well, I was 15 and I started playing when I was 12. In my first like 2 years, I didn't even play scales because it was just all like rhythm.
Yeah.
So going from I'll never be good enough to do leads at all to being like, okay, well, you have to do leads. It was good. And then yeah, just learning that there's a lot of information I need to get in here. So yeah, basically it was learning, just realizing that I still have a lot to learn would be where it kind of ties into that like defining moment. Because ever since then, I've been back to the Guitar Workshop Plus, and I've always done the same thing where it's like whatever's written down on the board, I take notes, write all of it down, whether I understand it or not. Because what you have written down from notes in a week, you literally will be set for the rest of the year till
Just
you
working.
could go back the next time working on what was covered.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's like, not like, I don't know if that jogged your memory on like a defining moment or something, but
It kind of did. 'Cause I mean, for me, I guess one of the biggest ones was just, I mean, kind of the same vein as you with like, you know, you auditioning like at the workshop with like, you know, starting off with like Metallica or whatever, and then kind of having to go kind of outside your comfort zone to do other stuff. But like, kind of me the same way whenever I start in high school in the music class, because obviously there's a French high school. There's not that many like French metal bands, or even like, you know, from the school that I grew up in, like that many metal heads, I guess you'd say. So it's like being kind of forced to play anything other than just that, you know? So I think that was a really big thing, because especially in 11th grade, whenever that happened, because we weren't just doing, we were doing like by the decades, like different decades with like different, like the most popular form of music. So it's like, I had to learn a Django Reinhardt song. I had to learn Minor Swings, which is like a gypsy jazz song. And then obviously there was like kind of like a 70s kind of like pop rocky sort of Beatles kind of vibe song. But just like to look into this like electronic kind of stuff, and then like also just full on like modern pop and, you know, and rock and stuff like that. So really that there kind of just really pushing me to step outside of my comfort zone and to really just expand my ability to play guitar, really. I mean, I think that too was kind of cool because it was not just really for guitar playing, but like that year there wasn't as many like, I'll put in parentheses, like good musicians. So it's like I had to play drums for a lot of the songs. So I wasn't just playing guitar. I was playing guitar for a few songs, but then I had to play drums and I had to play bass for a few songs too. So it's just like trying to be as versatile as I can be, you know?
Yeah, just trying to fill the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that was really a moment of just really pushing myself to try to, you know, become more than just this one thing, you know? And then also especially with the jazz stuff, like, you know, learning that it's not just, you know, a bunch of notes or like just pentatonic scales and stuff like that. Like there are like modes and stuff like that, because like I didn't honestly start learning modes and like scale patterns and stuff like that till I actually started talking to you, really. because even at that point, I was just mostly writing just what I found sounded good, mixed with mostly pentatonic box kind of blues scale. So once I started hanging out with you, actually, a lot more of that kind of opened up. Because, I mean, obviously you're always talking about it, and I was more along the lines of like, I don't want to know what the hell he's talking about. So then it's just like, yeah, then kind of diving down into that kind of pool of... And overall, it does help because it's just like writing solos now, you know, I can have different scales I can pick and choose from, and then I can just find something melodically that sounds cool and fitting for the song, rather than just try to go 100%, you know, full shred, you know. So it's like, I find that actually really, really helped develop kind of, I guess, kind of like my own footprint or whatever, you know?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a step in a new direction. Because with modes and everything, you know, Malmsteen has his moments, and like what he says about how the modes, like, really, it's just a few more notes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that much more, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, the thing with the pentatonic is you are missing your second and your sixth scale degree.
Okay.
So there's, I don't know, it's kind of this weird thing where musicians refer to stuff in like the weirdest ways, but like flavor, like kind of like sonic flavor.
Yeah.
When you take those elements out, certain things, it's just kind of, it's like a bland kind of, you know. I mean, I love the pentatonic scale specifically. In the blues scale, adding like your flat fifth, like, awesome, and you can do so much with that. But throwing in those extra two notes here and there, can really make all the difference. And not even just in the context of playing scales.
No,
just in the context of playing chords. So if you're just playing more than your root third fifth, or root flat third and fifth, if you want to start adding in like the sevenths, ninths, whatever, like all of these notes and changing things around, and it's, it is really cool.
And I think that's the thing too, it's just like to hear those extra notes and stuff like that, especially like, I mean, for me anyways, because I mean, the main music that I listen to is like obviously metal, but it's like to hear those extra few notes being played in that context, it's just kind of like a breath of fresh air, you know, because it's just like, it does add that extra depth, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. It can give things a lot more movement for sure.
Because, I mean, I don't know. After a while, like, some things just kind of get stale, you know? So, like, to have that extra little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
It just adds a, you know, kind of new flavor to things.
Yeah, each, sort of like, specifically with solos, each one should be... You shouldn't go into a solo as a listener with the thought of, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And, you know, but then maybe at the same time, maybe just chill out and enjoy whatever it is for what it is.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like there's a difference between listening to somebody who's a blues legend playing, you know, those few bluesy licks, and listening. I think it's tough too in the context of thrash metal, because it is sort of like the first position minor pentatonic scale is kind of the first one that everybody sort of learns.
Yeah.
So it's their first sort of trick to pull from. So then not really expanding out of that is... I remember I told one guy, whatever song we were playing, it was in the key of... Might have been in G. So the E minor, like being the relative minor, E minor, pattern 1 up on the 12th fret would work for the solo. So I told him, you know what? Just do stuff with this it's not gonna be great, but we do have to perform. So as long as you stick to that shape, find something cool, repeat it. You can do some hammer and pull off stuff. We'll totally get through. As long as it's that there, you'll be fine. It's kind of a good fallback for everything. And he really took that to heart. So in other songs, he started just doing solos with that shape. He did E minor on songs that it wasn't in G, it wasn't in E minor. It was totally not working. But I had to talk about that. Like, yeah, awesome. You were listening great, but you can move it around too.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
What about a second one?
Second one? I think. I don't know. Like, defining moments. Like,
Basically just a moment that with whatever happened has had a lasting impact on you when it comes to music.
I think my older sister always complaining about me being loud is also one. Because I remember starting to play guitar or whatever, and obviously it's like when everybody starts playing any instruments, or I mean just anyone who starts off with anything really,
it's not gonna be great.
Yeah, you're gonna be shit at it.
Yeah.
But of course, when you're younger and it is guitar playing, it's and you are into rock and metal and stuff like that. It's you see all your idols and stuff like that, and you want to
emulate it for sure.
Exactly. So it's just you want everything to be louder than it has to be, and not understand why turning it down is okay, So I mean, also I was limited to what I had. So at the time it was just I had my dad's guitars on my dad's amp, So it's I didn't have anything of my own to be able to practice. So it's my dad had this huge 75 watt PV amp that it was just way too loud.
Well, I mean, he was gigging with it.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, for that application, absolutely. But just to practice at home for a beginner, it was obviously a little too much. And of course, I wanted distortion and all that.
Yeah.
So it's
was it tube or solid state?
Tube.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah, just even more. Yeah. So, but yeah, just being again that, just always feeling pressure to kind of get better. So that's the comments of you suck.
Yeah, will go away.
Yeah. So then it's just okay. Well, even though I'm being loud,
at least I'm not sucking.
Yeah, exactly. And at least it doesn't sound like ass the entire time. But then eventually, I did get my own. I got this thing. That I got that for Christmas. It was
Marshall MG15HC.
Yeah. CFX.
CFX, yeah, it's a silver one.
Yeah. They don't even make the little stacked versions anymore. It sucks.
Of that specific model?
Because they still have the MG series, but they don't have the little mini stack anymore. But yeah, they just come combo sizes, or you can get the 100 watt solid state head. But yeah, but yeah, I think that's probably definitely one, because it's just again too, and just that too, us always comparing guitars, because my older sister really got into Guns N' Roses and Slash was super cool. Whereas for me, listening to Slash's guitar solos, compared to Eddie Van Halen's guitar, super in your face flashy solos, for me it's that's what I want to do. The kind of Slash's tasty blues kind of licks were just kind of meh to me.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, that was just another thing, just to kind of, there's always kind of that rivalry.
Oh yeah, siblings.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's probably another factor would be your sister was probably just listening to music for the sake of listening to it, whereas for you, digging the Van Halen thing more is because you want to be that guy totally ripping it up on guitar. So if you have to pick between these two things, like this thing sounds way crazier, so you want to be the gnarlier guitar player, so you're gonna go off in that direction.
Gravitate towards that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, definitely when it comes to putting in the practice time, because I remember I would have been probably 15 still, or 14. I might have been 14 in grade 9, yeah. I think it was in grade 9. Because I had maybe just started. Obviously, that intro to Am I Evil, just super easy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Commute the E and G with your hand and just, go to town.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, doing that, I brought my guitar and an amp to school, set up in the caf, started playing after school one day. And I started playing a couple cool little whatever things, and before too long, there was a crowd of about probably 30 other kids watching.
Okay.
So at that point, for me, especially before, like I remember being a kid and having to do speeches, hated speeches. Even just being in front of any sort of crowd really, really wasn't comfortable. Sort of being the center of attention. But getting into music, you just kind of had to get over it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool that a crowd had gathered of kids to watch me play that thought that I was doing a good job.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, just playing my guitar, having fun. And this guy did almost, what's that? It was almost like that Tom Cruise movie where he slides. Jerry Maguire?
Oh, yeah. What's like
He had all of his clothes on, but he slid around the corner to the big doors into the caf, and then saw me, ran right up, and he started this big showboat guy walk. Turns out he was a guitar player.
Okay.
Imagine that. But I'd heard an amp from where he was in the school, so he started just running towards the sound. He showed up, walked in, and was like, "Oh, that's super cool. Do you mind if I play?" And for me, there was no issue with letting him play because it's "Yeah, man, try it out." Cool, play too. And so right away, this guy starts playing the Am I Evil thing after I played it, but he was playing it twice as fast. Not because that was the tempo of it.
Yeah.
He was just doing it twice as fast for the sake of playing it faster than I did it.
Yeah.
And he knew a little bit of the one solo from Metallica. A few things like that. He knew probably Eruption.
Yeah, okay.
At least the tapping part
Mm.
of Eruption. And then, what else? Maybe Pantera. Which one? Maybe the Cowboys from Hell or Domination.
Oh,
I
Domination.
might have known the Domination solo at that point. So we started doing all of this, and then one of my buddies who just likes to bust balls was like, "Oh, eat it, Lucas." And I just remember in that moment looking at the guy playing it. He was looking at me with just attitude on his face, and it was just this mental note of like, all right, one day,
Yeah.
it's not going to be today, it's not going to be tomorrow, but there's going to come a time where we revisit this.
Yeah.
So 4 years later, we start playing assemblies, and at this point there's an actual little bit of a music scene happening.
Mm-hmm.
Rock band is going to be starting up, and more people are getting together jamming as their own bands playing at assemblies. So what happened was there was basically this guy, Justin Drainville, who was the Shred King of TDSS. He was leaving high school as I was showing up, and this other guy, Dave, was a year older than me. So Justin leaves, and then Dave's now sort of stepping into that, like, I'm the best guitar player, you know, at school. And I ended up, for a couple of years, just skipping assemblies, not even, like, paying attention. Just, you know, I'm going to go hang out. So by the time, I think it was grade 12, something like that, it came around. I had really started putting in a lot of hours practicing, because grade 10, it was like 6 hours a day.
Okay.
Like, I would get home at 4, play till 7:30 for dinner, eat in like 20 minutes, and then I would go back to practicing till 9:30, 10 o'clock, every single day, playing bass a lot as well as guitar. And it got to the point where this Dave guy didn't even remember me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I looked a lot different. Like, my hair was longer,
Okay.
and I had different guitars, so it was just very out of context. And at an assembly, what ended up happening was we played a song, Drawn to Black by Insomnium. But just before that, I sort of did a little harmonic minor run up with alternate picking on one string with some pull-offs real quick. It's not it's not complicated, but it's just kind of, you know, catchy sounding.
Yeah.
Did that, and then I muted the strings with my right hand.
Yeah.
So it's, you just hammer on and you're doing these really clean sweep sounds. Went through a bunch of that, and then I took the guitar, put it up over behind my head, turned my back to face the crowd, looked at the drummer, gave him the nod, he counted it in, and we started playing Drawn to Black by Insomnium. And it starts off, it was really cool because on the song there's a stereo right and left thing with one guitar, just does this little chug, and then the other guitar, back to the first guitar, the other, and then the band, it just really kicks into the song, and there's a little lead that is not too hard, because it's all in one spot, so my hand didn't actually have to move, but I got to just play this with the guitar behind my head, with my back to the whole school at an assembly.
Yeah. Just kind of pulling a Jimi Hendrix.
And just, you know, then the guitar comes down and we're into this full-on screamo song, so I just am headbanging, and then the bass player on the other side, he was headbanging, and we were like perfectly in sync. And the drummer, the double kick, like Drawn to Black by Insomnium, is worth checking out because it's a really cool tune. But yeah, we just rocked that song. And then we ended up, we were gonna play a song after that. We were gonna play Tears Don't Fall by Bullet for My Valentine, but it was also, we were starting to get to the point where we were playing well over the hour for assemblies.
Okay.
And the administration was not feeling it. So, yeah, the vice principal basically told everybody to, you know, be back in class at like, you know, 5-10 minutes or whatever. And the guy on the mic was not having that, so he had the mic and told everyone to sit their asses down. And everyone was kind of, oh, what do we do? Play the song.
Yeah.
All we have to do is start playing the song. Start playing the song. Everyone's, oh, they're still playing a song. We can win this. It's so easy. All we have to do is start playing the song. But none of them started playing. And then the vocalist did that, and I was like,
I just
swearing on the mic in front of everybody
at school.
And then the vice principal came on her mic over by the board and like repeated, okay, yeah, 5 minutes, be back in class. The assembly is over.
That just makes us like the vocal is just super cringy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a whole story of how, you know, we put a lot of work in. You know, for us to rehearse, the drummer lived in Notre Dame. So for us to coordinate getting from Haileybury and Cobalt over to Quebec, Yeah, a lot of work. But
Yeah.
basically, so that happened, and then it ended up being awesome because it was the Friday before our March break.
Oh, okay.
So immediately, all of us are, well, we're not going to class for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. So we skip. This Dave guy was 19, so, we just go to the beer store. He gets a 2-4. We walk all the way down to the lake, sit down at some picnic tables, and it's March. Totally nice, sunny day out.
Okay.
And we drank between the assembly being done by the time we got down there to the beach at 11. Drank till about 3. And had a great time. Other people ended up skipping too. There ended up being, I don't know how many, 20 or 30, but a whole bunch of people skipped because we're supposed to go to class afterwards, but we didn't. People were like, oh, what happened? Wow, they're pissed, so they didn't go to the class. And then after that, other people bailed. And then it got to the point where people were just bailing because whatever, people were bailing. So that was really, really cool. But then on our walk back to the school, Dave and I are walking together, and at this point we've been in a band for about a year, so we're actually buddies kind of thing, and we're pretty drunk, at this point, and we're walking back. There was like a broken hockey stick in somebody's front yard, so he pulls it out, starts using it as a staff, walking. He puts his arm around me, and he's like, I gotta tell you something. So we're walking, and I was like, what's up? And he says, you kicked my ass today, dude. In front of everybody. You kicked my ass. When you were doing that. And then you played that solo behind your head. You kicked my ass. I said, well, it's funny you mentioned that. Because 4 years ago, in the calf, he's like, totally remembered. Like, oh, no way. Told you. One day. But out of that whole long story, it's definitely the hard work pays off. Yeah. So when you put that 6 hours a day in, and you do that every day for 4 years, you're thousands of hours in on practicing.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna make just a night and day difference.
Yeah.
So taking that with me, but also the flip side of that coin is leaving the competitive side of playing kind of at that point in my life too. Mm-hmm. Also having a rock band and there being other, people who want to show off and everything.
Yeah.
It definitely taught me that there's really no point in trying to be better than
everybody. No, yeah.
Whoever in the small town, because there's just so many bigger fish out there in the world. So for me to focus on being
just better than that one person.
Yeah, better than any one person. Mm-hmm. It's so true. And I feel like Devin Townsend might have said something like this. There's probably a lot of artists that have said it, but if you invest your time and energy into being better than somebody else, you lose out on being the best that you are supposed to be. And that actually reminds me of something from Guitar Workshop Plus the first time. We had this bass player, this older British guy, show up, and his sort of philosophy on music was, I'm better than I was, I'm as good as I can be now, and I'm not as good as I'm going to be. So, dude, I gotta write that down. Yeah. And then there's a whole just funny bit where there was a party that night at my one buddy's place, and Dave and I were totally gonna go to the party, but then we decided, you know what, it's for the best that you don't, there's, you should go home tonight, I should, whatever happens to me, happens to me. And we totally decided, you know what, alright, it's the right thing to do. He's, gonna go home. He had a wife and a kid,
Okay.
But then we part ways in the school. We walk out separate doors in the back, and then we see each other make eye contact from across the parking lot, and just know like we're going to party, like right away. Yeah, it's a good time.
That's good. Well, I'd say on that happy note, everybody should subscribe. And then,
smash that like button.
Yeah. And, if, anyone else wants to share their stories, do so in the comments. Please. It's welcome. I don't disable...
encouraged.
Yeah. I don't disable any comments, so say you guys suck, and we'll thumbs up it. So, because that's the word.
Yeah. I'll probably look at your channel.
Yeah.
And see... what you got going on?
Yeah. But everybody have yourselves a wonderful day for whenever you're watching this, and
the next day, and the day after that.
Yeah. So we'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Adios.